Hi, it's Ramsey Dewey at the JX Fight Club in Shanghai, China, and I'm going to talk today about the three types of training partners that you need to improve. The first one's pretty obvious. You need people who can squash you. You need people who are better than you to train with. People who just seem untouchable. They can tap you out at will, they can pass your guard at will, they can beat you up any way they want to. Because those people teach us, well, one, what there is to know. Two, they teach us how to be defensive players. They teach us how to survive. But if that's the only type of person we ever train with, again, we get set in this very defensive mindset and we don't win fights that way. So the second type of training partner, we need people at our same level or close to it. People who challenge us, but still allow us to progress at a reasonable rate. You know, people who can beat us sometimes we can catch them. Because again, we have to understand what an evenly matched fight is like. It's not going to be easy at all. Evenly matched fights are difficult. That's why we call it a fight. If it's not evenly matched or harder, it's not really a fight. The third type of training partner, people that we can squash, people that you can beat at will, people whose guard you can pass, people you can submit quite easily. Why do we need that? Actually, the third type is one of the most important types of training partners because that allows us to develop our offense. It allows us to practice the new stuff that we're learning. Ever gone to a jiu-jitsu class and the instructor taught a new technique and you tried to do it for real and it just didn't work? It looked so easy when he showed it, it worked so well when your training partner was cooperating, but as soon as you go live, you miss it. Why is that? Well, for the simple reason that we know it up here, but we don't know it down here yet. It's got to be in the body before we can do it live. And the way to get it in the body, in the muscle memory, is, well, the only way to do it is to do it live, right? And how do we do that against somebody who's better than us? We don't. So we have to practice on less experienced people. So I often see people, they'll come into the gym, maybe a more experienced fighter or grappler, and they'll see a bunch of beginners and they'll be like, oh man, a bunch of beginners, and they'll get disappointed. And that's a brilliant learning opportunity. Now, I'm not just talking about like beating up the little guys, picking on the underdogs. No, absolutely not. See, with less experienced fighters, less experienced martial artists, we can give ourselves challenges that we could not before. One of the best pieces of advice about training that I got was from Ricky Lundell. He said something like this: if you want to bring your jiu-jitsu, if you want to bring your jiu-jitsu to the next level, roll until the white belts can submit you. And he's a black belt, I believe a third-degree black belt, very fantastic grappler. He's won all kinds of championships. And his advice for black belts to get better, roll until the white belts can beat you. Now, here in China, there's a huge turnover at the gym. There are a lot of people who travel in and out of Shanghai all the time. So we get a lot of expats, a lot of foreigners who pass through and they want to train for a couple months, then they leave. And so there's a constant influx of brand new students, people who want to try out MMA for the first time. They'll stick around for a few months, then they'll go back to their home country. And at first, this was a very frustrating process because when I was coaching back in the US, I had a steady group of individuals that I worked with every single day for the long run. And so I saw these long short-term improvements from them. Again, it happens very, very gradually. But when you've got transients like that, you don't see that type of overall improvement with your team. So again, I was very frustrated for a long time. But I learned that this was a brilliant learning opportunity as a coach for two reasons. One, it's given me so many opportunities to become better at teaching new students. And it's one thing to understand some basic technique and lay that out in front of somebody. It's a whole different thing to actually teach somebody something. Some of the smartest people on this planet are those who teach kindergarten, for example, or teach special education, or teach anybody at that most basic learning level. Because to teach a small child, to teach somebody with a disability, to teach a brand new student who is a non-athlete, who doesn't really understand their own body, how to move, let alone how to fight or how to win a fight, that's a talent. That is a rare talent that takes a tremendous amount of effort and time and practice to develop and to hone. So again, initially what I thought was a setback turned out to be a huge blessing. Now, if you're in that situation where you're the most advanced player in the gym and everybody else is, a brand new white belt or something like that, you can take advantage of that as a learning opportunity a lot of different ways. Like Ricky Lundell said, you can roll until the white belts can submit you. And you can also give yourself very specific challenges. Like maybe you're not very good at knee bars, for example, and you want to be. And you're really good at arm bars, and you're really good at guard passing, and you're really good at chokes or whatever. Give yourself the challenge to, today, I will only work on the knee bar. Or maybe you're not very good at a certain position, or you want to improve from that position. Okay? You got a bunch of brand new white belts. Tell yourself, today, I will work this position. Like maybe you want to improve at escaping back mount. And if all you have to roll with is black belts, they will tool you from there. They'll choke you every time. They'll destroy you from there. But if you have a room full of white belts to train with, well, now you have an opportunity to take some risks that you wouldn't before. And that doesn't mean use bad technique. That means take the risk of get out of your defensive shell and go on the offensive. Because that's the only way we're going to win a fight, is to go on the offensive. Remember, fights are judged on 3 main parameters: effective striking, effective grappling, and effective aggressiveness. That means going on the offensive in an effective manner. Okay, MMA fights anyway. I know I've had some subscribers point out and say, hey, I think you're confusing fights with MMA, and fights are more than that. Well, yeah, absolutely. Now, when I say fight, I mean something real, okay? I'm not talking about pretend or make-believe. A MMA fight can be a fight, or it can also be a point match, a game, depending on how the athletes approach that event. A wrestling match can be a fight, or it can be a game, again, depending on the how the athletes approach the event. A boxing match can be a fight. It can be a drag-out brawl, or it can be a game, again, depending on how the athletes approach the event. Same thing with jiu-jitsu or karate or taekwondo. Or any of those things can be a fight if the athletes make it a fight. There was a match between Jordan Burroughs and Kyle Dake both phenomenal wrestlers. And when I heard they were going to wrestle, I got excited, like, oh, wow, this is cool. Two of the best wrestlers are going to go at it. This is going to be cool. But then I thought, oh, but you know, a lot of times you see those guys who are really, really good, and they kind of cancel each other out because they get really careful, and they don't want to make a mistake, and so we don't see the fireworks. We don't see the fight. We see the careful approach to point fighting. We see a game. But that wasn't the case. I mean, check that out. You can see it on YouTube. Jordan Burroughs versus Kyle Dake. That is a wrestling match that is a fight. I mean, both of these guys were just fighting for every position, fighting for the takedown, fighting for the scrap, fighting for the pin. Fantastic match, fantastic fight. Anyway, that's a little aside there. But 3 types of training partners, again, people who can beat us at will, people at our same level, and people that we can beat any way we want, so that we can hone and refine our technique and work our effective aggressiveness. Okay? So I hope that helped. Thanks for watching. Get out there and train.